And now it's recorded.
I'm the editor. I'll blank everything. You'll never know what I say.
It'll be like
You just be like
crazy thing.
beep beep
It's
beep
all
beep 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 beep.
it'll be like the Nixon tapes. It's just gone. John is not a crook.
I am not a crook.
Well, people gotta know whether their president's a crook. And I am not a crook.
Ah,
Good. I cemented my position as
So
a villain.
so cringe, so evil. But anyway, um so the three of us have gotten together tonight because we are going to be talking about some anime villains. Specifically, we are going to be talking about each of our top 5 favorite anime villains of all time. Now, I say all of us, even though Natai is not here tonight, he has provided us with his list of his 5 favorite villains in anime. So we are also going to include that. And just like we did a couple of months ago with our ranking of anime protagonists that we love, we're also going to be ranking these. So, one thing I do want to ask both of you before we get started is when we did the protagonist ranking, there were 4 overlaps between all 4
mhm,
of us, and there was one character that was on 3 of our lists.
right.
Before I show you the actual tier list, how many overlaps do each of you think there were in this?
All right. So I purposely tried to pick people that you guys wouldn't choose,
Mm,
hopefully. So I'm gonna go with a lower number. So I'm gonna say only 2 overlaps.
okay, Chinoda.
I think there's going to be at least 3.
Well, John, you're absolutely right, but I don't think you're right in the way you think you are.
Oh
there
no, is
are
it
two,
overlaps with me?
there are 2 overlaps. There's one overlap with John and Natai, and one with me and Chinoda.
All right.
Oh,
Obviously, I know which one it's for me and Natai. I absolutely know which one it is.
I think Chinoda might know which one it is for me and him. Might.
I don't
But
even remember what I picked, so this is going to be a surprise for me
also
too.
before I show off this list, I do want to just put out there for those who are watching that we might get into some minor spoilers or maybe even some major spoilers for some of the characters and series we might be talking about. So do keep that in mind as we go forward, because talking about why some of these characters are villains or how they become villains, it's just it's a necessity for talking about them, and that could be
Yeah.
considered a spoiler for some people.
If we go into heavy spoilers, we'll give you a warning
Oh yeah.
beforehand.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And also, just one last thing before we start. If you do like and want to see more of this, do consider giving this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Also, comment down below if you think we're absolutely off base with these rankings, and tell us what your top 5 favorite anime villains of all time are. With
Tell us
that,
why only shonen villains are the best villains.
Let me tell
yes,
you why All for One is actually the penultimate villain of all time.
it is a villain of all time. Just a villain. It's not even the best, just a villain. All right, so here we are. This is the tier list, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
Oh,
Tier list.
So I'll get the suspense out of the way first. The 2 overlapping characters were Izaya Orihara from Durarara and Griffith from Berserk.
I knew it'd be Griffith. Me and Natai. Same wavelength, bro.
I was honestly, I remember I was gonna put Griffith down, but I'm like, nah, someone else is gonna put Griffith.
So we're gonna go in an order that's not in any way reminiscent of how these characters are laid out here on this tier list. We're just gonna go in alphabetical order of each of us on the podcast. So I'll go first, and my very first villain slash antagonist that I chose is Askeladd from Vinland Saga season 1.
See,
Um,
I almost put Askeladd, but I was like, I know for sure one of you guys are gonna put Askeladd.
Yes.
So I
I
didn't pick Askeladd.
I genuinely thought that Natai was going to put Askeladd, but I was shocked that no, Natai did not. Um, Yeah, Askeladd, phenomenal foil for Thorfinn in the first season of Vinland Saga. Uh, just also perfectly acted. I haven't watched the English dub of Vinland Saga. I don't know how well Thorfinn, or excuse me, how well Askeladd is voiced in the English dub. But the dude who does his voice in the Japanese dub is just absolutely perfect. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine him being voiced by anyone better. Um, and he's a fun like foil and villain to watch because of his interactions with Thorfinn in this show. He's kind of like a villain slash father figure in a
He
weird
was a straight
way.
up father figure to Thorfinn.
Even
Yeah,
though he's the one who caused Thorfinn's father to like
to not be alive anymore.
yeah, to be unalived. So it's he, he's a really weird villain because he doesn't seem like he like obviously for all intents and purposes he is the villain because it's like you destroyed Thorfinn's life and Thorfinn tries his entire goal is here to kill you.
Hmm.
But then you learn more about Askeladd's background and like what he's doing everything for, and it's like he's kind of like a sympathetic villain where it's like, well, he's doing things for his clan, and
Yeah,
it's like, well, is he truly evil? Well, in his story, he's not evil.
yeah, and the story that he tells, because he kind of becomes the main character in season one, especially past I'd say episode 6 or 7. Um, and it's really weird because you can tell in his mind he's definitely not the villain, and he's doing all this stuff for a good reason. But we, the viewer, are like, dude, I get it, but you're not exactly a hero.
Yeah, like in his mind, the ends justify the means, but in our
Hmm.
minds, it's like the means definitely do not justify the ends.
It's like
Yeah,
your perspective versus the entire perspective.
yeah, that's a good way to think about it. So, what do we think?
I think Askeladd is a solid candidate for A tier, to be honest.
Okay,
Like, I
okay.
wouldn't put him at S tier because to me, a villain is someone that I've got to hate him a lot. Like they
Hmm.
have to do everything perfectly, where it's like you are the biggest piece of shit. You just the worst. I
Hmm.
hate you so like because you do your job so well of making people hate you.
Yeah, which I
And
mean, it's a good trait to have as a villain.
I don't absolutely hate Askeladd, but I think he is a good villain because in at least from Thorfinn's perspective, he does everything right to like fuck with Thorfinn. But then it's at the same time, it's like, but he's also training Thorfinn and he's being the substitute father figure. So it's like,
But
well, it's
at the
like,
same time, we see him as he is, a mercenary, a fucked up one at that. And we
yeah,
do see him doing some absolutely wild stuff.
yeah.
All
Good
right.
villain.
Well, I think A tier is a good starting point for this list for Askeladd. Yeah, 100%. He's pretty good. I think John. Yeah, you're right. Maybe not as memorable as some of the other characters that we're going to talk about. Certainly might not have the staying power as some of these shonen villains that we're probably going to talk about.
Right.
But definitely up there. All right. Speaking of a shonen villain, the next character on my list is none other than Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I
I
absolutely knew
S tier. Come
Dio.
on, can we say S
S
tier?
tier. S tier.
Fuck.
He's a complete
D.
and utter
D
piece
for
of shit.
Dio.
Dio, no,
No. He is
no,
all
no.
right. Hear me out. All right.
You're
Kira is
wrong.
obviously the best JoJo villain of all time.
Oh no.
Absolutely. Yoshikage Kira is the best JoJo villain. All right. Dio, part one, yeah, okay. Maybe, right? Part three, okay, yeah, really good, right? But you got to consider all parts of Dio here, right? I don't think Dio is worthy of S tier. I don't absolutely hate him because he's just so he's fucking Dio, dude. I'm
Is it
John.
tired of
because he's so extra?
I'm fucking tired of Dio babies and Dio dinosaur.
John.
Fucking Dio. Dio
John.
boyfriend.
Might I remind you, civilians on the sidewalk, that's okay. Run them over.
Like, okay, yes, you're right. Dio Brando is absolute an evil piece of shit. I admit that. But I
John,
just
might I
it's just
remind you, puppy, throw it into the fire.
yeah.
Alive.
And then I kiss your girlfriend. Oh god.
Dio is the
Iconic.
epitome of evil. He is S
I
tier
I
villain.
just hate that everyone always says Dio Brando is like the #1 villain of all time. That's the only reason I'm saying putting him in D is just because of that. Just because
No.
I'm tired of people saying he's S tier. He's the worst villain, anime villain, antagonist of all time. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, he is really fucking evil. He does, but I don't fucking hate Dio. Is the problem? Everything
I'm
You
he
telling you,
love
you
does.
Dio
don't
because
hate
you're
him.
horny for him. Let's be
Oh
real.
God, you don't hate him because he's so extra.
He's so fabulous.
He's so fabulous. Uh, no, I kind of thought of Dio as like all forms Dio, both the Dio we see in part 1 and part 3, because they're both extra as fuck. It's just how they go about being extra. Also, if you're thinking about Dio in part 3, you're also partially thinking of Jonathan
Yeah,
because there is no Dio without Jonathan.
Ooh,
yeah.
that is true.
Like, okay, put him in S tier because you guys are assholes.
Yes.
Like like
Yes.
everyone else, just put Dio in S tier, I guess.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes. No, 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 no.
The obligatory, is this a JoJo's reference?
It's always a fucking JoJo's reference with us.
All right. So the next person I have on my list is definitely in the candidate running for worst dads of all time, my boy Gendo Ikari from Evangelion.
Okay, Gendo is quite a piece of shit. But it's like when I look at it through the lens of like, well, it's either, sacrifice my family and my son because the earth needs saving, or,
Mhm.
the earth just fucking literally everyone's just dying on earth. It's like, well, I understood why he did it. But at the same time, it's like, well, even then, Gendo didn't care about saving the world. So,
He just wanted to save his wife.
yeah, it's like, all right, you're kind of a piece of shit for sacrificing your son for your wife. But then again, Shinji is kind of a piece of shit. So, I think it's
I
hard
mean,
for me to.
who's more evil? The person who destroys the world to save his wife, or the person who unconsensually masturbates over a comatose woman?
Obviously the latter. Like I can wholeheartedly agree with, like, if my wife died and I had to destroy the world twice over to get her back, I completely understand that sentiment. Uh Jerking off over a comatose girl, I do not understand that sentiment. There was no logic here involved. Even as a teenager, I never fucking thought of that.
So are
So
we saying Gendo Ikari is not truly evil?
Not as
no,
evil as
he's definitely
Shinji.
evil. He's evil to Shinji, and again, the means do not justify the ends here with Gendo. So he's willing to sacrifice the world when he promised to save it for his wife. So it's like, and I
I
definitely
would like
think.
to point out that we have another candidate in the running for best dad later on, so
Oh
maybe
no,
we.
no, no. So here, I think Gendo is a very solid A for villain because he's not much of a villain until later
Mm.
on, and he's more of a villain in Shinji's eyes because Shinji's the main character. Though I
Hmm.
guess from a certain point of view, he's the villain of the world because he's willing to sacrifice the world for his
He
wife.
killed
So,
a lot of people to accomplish his goal.
yeah. So, but it's
Okay.
understandable. I get
Okay.
it, Gendo.
I still don't get
Okay.
it. Like, you sacrifice the world, bring back your wife. To what world? Like, what how do you exist?
Yeah, kinda.
Like,
You brought
I
a
don't understand the end
destroyed
game.
world.
Because baby, there is no world without you.
You are my whole world.
Exactly.
You
That
wouldn't
doesn't make
understand.
sense.
You've never been in love. And no, your body pillows don't count.
Wow.
uh all right, so I think A is pretty good for Gendo, especially considering how like his visage, his image is quite iconic in anime at least.
Yeah, like
Uh
I'm not sure if Gendo is the one who started the whole like fucking shing the glasses
He did.
shine when you adjust it.
Well, he didn't start it, but it became popular because of him.
Yeah, and then like
yeah.
and Ava is just in pop culture or in media like all the time. Like the iconic Gendo fucking gentlemen, I have called you here today.
It's funny. I've actually been to like various different Asian restaurants, and if I'm wearing, I specifically have a shirt with Gendo doing that pose in white, and the shirt is black, and just underneath it is like a boss, and I've had several older Asian people just look at my shirt, point it out like Gendo Akari, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just like,
and
yeah.
to emphasize exactly how iconic that pose is, if you actually notice on the tier list itself, there's another character doing that exact same pose.
Yeah, exactly. It's like God, who is the oh my God, the director that everyone fucking copies all the time?
Kubrick,
Director.
Kubrick, thank you.
the
Oh,
the Kubrick staring.
The Kubrick's there. People, yeah, because
Yeah,
it's like you want to talk about a master of cinematography, like it's
yeah,
Kubrick.
just staring down the camera, just head down, eyes up,
Man,
staring directly at the camera. Yeah, that's yeah, there you go. So the next character I have on my list is the first overlap character. It is Izaya Orihara from Durarara. So
so I
Chinoda, you have
never,
this on your list too.
yes.
I have never finished watching Durara. Like I said, I gave it 9 episodes and said I don't like this and stopped watching it. So I have
That's
no,
fair.
I
That
have
is
no
fair.
say in
It's a
this.
slow
And
burn. The first season of Durarara is really a slow burn.
yeah, I have no horse in this race. So go at it. I don't know why. I thought he was the main character. I don't know why he's the villain.
He
No, he's
somewhat
not the main
is.
character. He's not he is a main character, but he's not the main character.
Okay, I thought he was the main character, but okay.
Mm-mm.
So
He's
the
he's
reason
kind of the
why
face of the franchise though.
one of them, the other is Celti's big
Yeah,
butt
Celty, yeah.
while she's wearing her
Yeah, see,
leather suit.
the only thing I remember about Durara was that there is a Dullahan, and she, instead of a horse, she rides on a motorcycle,
Yes.
and also
Wearing
she
a
wears like
full
this
leather outfit,
a
and
full leather
goddamn,
outfit, and she has like cat ear motorcycle
Yeah.
helmet. That's all I
so
remember from
goddamn
Durara.
adorable.
But Izaya though.
So, Isaiah, his biggest thing, why he's such a bad guy, is because he wants to be entertained by people, and he find humans so incredibly entertaining, especially when they get into trouble. And his whole thing, he normally doesn't do completely bad or evil things himself, but he pushes others to doing things. He'll push a suicidal girl to walk off a building, but he'll just be talking to her about it.
Mm. He's a
He
master
is
manipulator.
he is the best manipulator in the entire goddamn city of this show. And it really shows. He set up so many situations, so many problems just because of one comment that he will make. He is truly amazing in character. He's such a goddamn troll. Holy shit. Um in terms of placement, I think he's at least a solid B tier villain.
Mm. I'd say in comparison to the other villains we have here, I'd say that's actually not a bad placement for him. I'd say he's like a high B, low A.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But I have no problems putting him in B tier. Like he is essentially a giant trickster, a troll. Granted, he does push along the narrative of behind the scenes, although you don't realize that until about halfway through the series. Um,
He's involved in everything, but you
he's got
never
his hands in
realize it.
everything, and
Yeah, you
he's very much like, I know neither of you are steeped in Star Trek lore, but he's very much like the character of Garrick from Deep Space Nine. Like, he knows way more than he'll ever admit to knowing, but yet he always plays it off as like he's this like I'm just a simple information broker. I don't know anything.
he's such a little shit and so adorable.
He also constantly lies about his age.
Yeah,
He's like, I think he's supposed to be 28 or 29 years old, and he constantly says he's 19.
But because of his like very youthful energy, you could believe it. You really could.
But anyway, yeah, I think B is a pretty good spot for Isaiah. John, I don't blame you at all. The first season of Durarara is really difficult to get through because the first, I'd say, 10, 11 episodes are a super slow burn.
Yeah, like I tried to give it a shot because I remember when I joined the podcast, you guys were all like, "Oh man, we love Durarara," and I'm like, "Oh, I remember seeing it on Toonami."
Mm.
I remember, hot girl in leather and rides a motorcycle. I was like, yeah, that seems
Sold.
kind of fun. Sold. Yeah, I watched the first 9 episodes. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Like, I don't really care for any of these characters. Celty doesn't stay on the screen long enough, not nearly long enough. So I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of just over it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So the last character I have is from something I don't think Chinoda has even watched. It is Ogi Oshino from the Monogatari series.
I'll eventually watch it, okay?
I want to say to everyone out there who thought I would put Kaiki in both this list and the protagonist list, you were wrong. You were wrong. Actually, I didn't put Kaiki on here because I genuinely thought Natai might put him on here.
See, I thought one of you was going to put Kaiki.
But no, so there's going to be some minor spoilers here for Monogatari. Actually, there's going to be some major spoilers for Monogatari, not going to lie.
Just send me a message. I'm going to go grab a drink while you talk about
okay. But no, Ogi Oshino is a great, great character because there's so much you don't know about her up until the very end of like the whole story arc. By the time you get to Owari Monogatari, the end of Owari Monogatari, like when you first meet her, she just seems like this really weird new character that just appears for some reason and you don't know why. And then slowly these things these puzzle pieces start to fall into place, but it's like, how does she know this? How does she know that? Why is she manipulating that person to do something they don't want? Why did she just randomly change her gender? Something is really wrong here. What the fuck? And then when you find out what she is, like what she actually represents, at the end of Owari Monogatari, and you realize that, oh, this is just an aspect of a negative side of Koyomi's own personality. It's like, wow. Okay, so it's literally just we've been watching the main character unknowingly fight against themselves for like two
His
whole
own inner
seasons.
demons.
Yeah. And that's it's like someone's own inner demons, their own personal struggles represented in an actual physical character. I like how Chinoda's camera just went to like 5 frames per second.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
But that's Ogi Oshino in a nutshell.
I haven't finished Owari because that's where I
Nice.
stopped watching the Monogatari series.
Owari
'Cause I was
Part
just-
2 is really good.
So again, I have no horse in this race other than like I know memes. Spooky Oogie, that was funny for a little.
Sleeve Dickings.
Yeah, the sleeve dickings.
Welcome back, Chinoda.
Hi. Why the fuck is Sleeve Dickings
You
So
wouldn't know because you didn't watch Owari.
If you go look up Ogi Oshino online and you look up pictures of her, you'll see that her sleeves are about 8 inches too long for her arms.
Huh.
So a lot of people were drawing her with doing sleeve jobs,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
you just-
hot. I like that.
Oh God! It's another one.
I love the feel of rough fabric on my genitals.
Yes. I will say in comparison to the other ones I see here, I have to be honest, she's not anywhere near as iconic as someone like Dio or Gendo. She's certainly not like bottom tier because of what she represents, but I think solid B next to Isaiah.
I'd agree because, like, I personally think Nadeko is a way better villain than because Nadeko is like A tier. I hate it's like I loved you, girl, and then I hated you. I can't believe you do this to my heart.
I loved you when you made a great OP and then you betrayed me.
And then you made another good OP, and I didn't know what to think then.
You made a great OP while you were being an absolutely shitty human being.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd agree. Oogie at it. Oogie.
Oogie.
Spooky Oogie.
Spooky Oogie.
Yeah, B tier. I think it's a pretty good place for her.
Is that fucking vodka?
No.
Alcoholic bastard. Is it Grey Goose? It is Grey Goose.
That's vodka.
Grey Goose is vodka, you bitch.
Yeah, I was like, I looked at it, I was like, I feel like that's Grey Goose. Am I the alcoholic because I could recognize the bottle? Or
he's
is
so
the
drunk
alcohol-
he doesn't even recognize the
Oh, he's
Grey
making a
Goose
little
is vodka.
mimosa, dude.
Oh,
What?
nice.
Mimosa. What?
Why didn't you make me a mimosa, bro?
It's a screwdriver, not a
It's
mimosa.
a screwdriver. A mimosa was champagne.
Is it? Oh man,
Yeah.
I don't
Mimosas
know
with
mixed drinks.
champagne or rosé and
Oh, okay.
orange juice.
Why is it called the screwdriver? What?
How did these drinks get their names, man?
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. It's just like, what's wrong with a classic Jack and Coke?
There's no alcohol in that.
Oh, yes, there is. Ask Ida.
Oh,
Ida will
oh.
stab you if you put down Jack and Coke. That is their
No,
favorite.
no, I didn't think that John actually put alcohol in his drink.
Yeah, I work tonight. Why would I do that?
Yeah. Hello, OSHA? Yeah, that's it for my characters. Those are my 5. So we'll move on to Chinoda. What's your first character? Oh, I have the list. I have to actually
Yeah,
announce
Yeah, I was
about to
like,
say, I don't
we don't
remember.
have the list, dude. I don't know.
the first one I have written down here is Light Yagami from Death Note. So minor spoilers for Death Note here.
Minus spoilers for an anime that's how old is it now?
20 years old?
It feels that way.
18
Is it
years
actually?
old?
It's got to be coming up on 20 years old. Is what 2006?
Yeah, so that's makes it 17.
Oh God.
God, it is coming up on its 20th anniversary.
Well, I mean, Ava is even older, so what can we say about Light that hasn't been said? He is a narcissistic,
Now,
ego-driven.
you can make an argument that Light Yagami doesn't start
Did
off
nothing
as a
wrong.
villain. I mean, he did everything wrong eventually, but he doesn't start off as a villain. He starts off as more of a I was gonna say anti-hero. Yeah, he's more of an anti-hero in the very beginning, right? Because he's doing things to better the world.
All he's doing is killing criminals that got away from the justice system.
Yeah, he becomes a vigilante, and then
Yeah.
he starts just killing people
He becomes
randomly.
Batman.
Yeah, I mean, Batman doesn't kill, but whatever.
He becomes Deathly Batman.
Actually, there is a Batman that kills, but point is, Light Yagami does not start off as a true villain, but he definitely ends up becoming a true villain by the end of the series because dude loses his fucking marbles with the power of death. Like the entire story about like being corrupted by the Death Note and Ryuk and stuff like that, just like watching Light slowly descend into madness and just
Absolute
start.
power corrupts absolutely, my friend.
Yes, thank you, Abraham Lincoln. I'm actually not sure if Abraham Lincoln said that.
I don't remember who it was that
Maybe
first
he
said
did.
that.
I was like, what?
Maybe he did. I don't know.
Like,
who was
maybe
the
in
first
a
person to say
movie.
that.
I think Abraham Lincoln said,
I mean, Abraham Lincoln was a vampire hunter. That is canonical
he was.
fact.
Yeah, that is a canonical fact. I actually don't remember what Abraham Lincoln said about power. I think it was something like, to corrupt a man the quickest, give him power or something stupid like that. We're not stupid. Abraham Lincoln was a okay president, I guess, unless you're from the South.
Oh
and you
yeah,
hated
it was
him.
just okay. I mean,
Yeah, the Emancipation Proclamation, like, yeah, it was just okay. He didn't help my health care, did he? My IRA and my 401ks.
But truly, Light's story going from just a guy with the ability to kill the bad guys as he saw it, to killing anyone and everyone whenever he wanted, however he wanted. It was what a fantastic story to watch. What a shit show to watch happen in slow motion. And you were there every day of the journey. And you were
Oh yeah, his
there beside him.
His unraveling is fucking chaotic, and that's like what, like, in my personal opinion, the show falls off at the end. Everyone else disagrees with me, and that's okay. Everyone can have their own opinions, even if they're wrong. But
by the way, I have found the origin of that phrase, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It was not Abraham Lincoln,
okay,
but it was someone who lived while Abraham Lincoln was alive.
well, it was Benjamin Franklin.
No, it was a man named John Emmerich Edward Dalberg Acton. And
That's a long name.
It's longer than mine.
He
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is my name too.
The phrase is a paraphrasing of a quote from his: "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Great men are almost always bad men."
I mean, that's kind of true though.
Yeah, no. Good quote. Because it's true.
Just like we see with Light Yagami.
Yes, just like Yagami.
And you would think that we would say Ryuk is probably like the main villain because he's the one who gives Light like the Death Note. But in reality, Ryuk gives him the means, but Ryuk doesn't actually do anything else. He doesn't whisper into Light's ear or anything like that. Light just
All he
gets
did,
corrupted by himself.
yeah,
That's like
all
putting the
Ryuko did was be an agent. He didn't do anything. He is a force of nature. That is all Ryuk is.
Yeah.
Everything bad
Ryuk is
or
an equivalent of giving a gun to someone who's homicidal. It's like, yeah, you gave them the tool, but they're the ones that chose to use it.
Yeah. Truly the angel of death.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what Shinigami are supposed to be?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they
Oh,
are.
they're death gods, but
Yeah. So what do we
so
think?
where I feel like Light is he's solid A tier in my opinion.
But not quite S tier, because I would agree.
Not quite S, because again, he starts off from humble beginnings. He has visions of grandeur where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to make the world better."
Mhm.
It's just he just spins out of control so bad.
I would agree with A. I feel like A is a pretty decent place to put him.
I
I'd say
think I can agree with that. Yeah.
I think because he doesn't like start out as evil, and because you have to watch his downfall evolve over time. And I do agree with John. By the end, his story does kind of start to fall apart. I think
Though
it
I feel like
just
that's
keeps him from being
intentional, though.
S. It's intentional. It's 100%
It's
intentional.
intentional,
But I think that's one thing that keeps him from being an S tier.
Yeah.
All right. So the next person I have on the list is the Major from Hellsing Ultimate, the other Gendo pose character we
Oh,
got
man.
going on.
Boys, girls, other things. The Major. Might I present an actual fucking Nazi?
If we don't put him at S tier, what is ACAD saying about Nazis?
I mean, John's not wrong. Like, come on, it's an actual fucking vampire Nazi. What
I mean,
more do you need?
if we're gonna go by that, we should really have an SS tier, should we not?
Oh my god.
Alex,
Oh no.
that's good, but fuck's sake.
I mean,
guy's
if
not
we're
here
gonna
to
have a
make the
Nazi
joke,
on
dude.
this list, we have to put him in SS tier.
No.
We're gonna get canceled.
Yep.
I definitely think that the Major is an S tier villain because he's so evil and such a piece of shit.
Are there any characters, villains or not, are there any characters in Hellsing that aren't S tier characters?
But I think he's just like in Hellsing Ultimate, he's like the titular villain. Like everyone else is kind of just whatever, in my opinion, compared to him, because he's the big guy making all the decisions in the background, and he's always just so imposing, and everyone's just like, "Yes, sir, yes, sir." And he's like, "We'll just burn it to the ground." Like he doesn't care about nothing other than taking over.
He is an evil
he's literally
version.
causing genocide, like an actual Nazi.
He's
He's an actual Nazi.
Yeah, it's very on brand. He is an evil version of Stroheim from JoJo's Part 2.
Yeah.
He has the same personality, but he just uses it for evil. Which is funny because Stroheim in JoJo's Part 2 is an actual Nazi.
It's such a stark difference of like bad guy versus evil guy.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Major in Hellsing is 100% S tier because every character in Hellsing is an S tier character.
Now I gotta ask real quick, what do you guys prefer? Hellsing Ultimate or Hellsing Abridged?
Those are two very different experiences.
Yes, they are, but what do you prefer? I need to ask.
Hellsing Ultimate. I really like
Yeah,
it.
you can't go wrong, man.
I am actually gonna have to say I prefer Hellsing Abridged more.
Then you support domestic abusers, Chanoda.
Look here, we're not getting into all that. I know what you're talking about. We're not getting into all that. I just prefer the work.
You heard it here first. Chinoda supports domestic abuse. Just like a Nazi.
I don't know if I'm not so well versed on Nazi isms that I would know whether or not they supported domestic abuse. I know they supported regular abuse of people they didn't
Oh,
like.
oh, lots of other kinds of abuse. All right, so the next character we have on Shinoda's list is Envy from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Envy
Now,
was a solid fucking villain.
in Full Metal Alchemist, there's a lot of really good villains. To be
Yes,
fair,
we're going to talk about another one when we get to your list, John.
yes. I feel like Envy's, yeah.
I very nearly put King Bradley on my list.
King Bradley did nothing wrong.
Okay. Oh,
Speaking of other Nazis,
okay. He's literally a Fuhrer. Come on.
Jesus, relax. Man, lots of Germans and Nazis on this list, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, huh?
It's kind of weird how that works. There's lots of people who lean heavily fascist on this list.
Shit.
God, that's
I
crazy.
should have put Tanya on this list.
Tanya's technically well.
Anyway, that's
Tanya is
speculation.
not a villain of his own story, so. But yeah, Envy.
Like a Nazi.
Yeah. Envy. The main foil of Envy is the fact that Envy is jealous of humanity for what they have. The human part, something Envy will never have. So much of everything Envy does and strives towards is to get back at humanity for what they have, and if possible, to become human itself. Because every homunculi had a goal that they were all going towards, even if they were supposedly under orders. All of them had an extremely strong personality, and they were very much towards what their namesake is, from gluttony to envy to wrath, all of them.
To lust with her giant tits.
To lust with their jimmy jams. God damn.
I'd make an argument that out of all the homunculi, I think Lust is probably my most hated for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
no.
can-
What is
what is
reason?
that reason, John?
For spoiler reasons I cannot get into.
Yeah.
Markiplier, no. This dude eating with gloves. I swear.
So, Alex, what are your thoughts on envy? I'm curious.
I mean, a perfect encapsulation of the concept of envy. I think portrayed very, very well throughout the entire run of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I kind of agree with John though. Of all the homunculi that we see in the show, I have to say I would probably put Lust at the top of the list, mostly because of her actions.
But I do agree. Envy, out of all the homunculi and out of all the seven sins, is probably the worst. Like the most evil. Actually,
Yeah, the most
evil.
like definitionally evil, yes.
Like chaotically evil, wants to destroy everything because envy.
Like come and flip the table and say, fuck it, I can't have it, so nobody can have it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that is envy.
But
the
no,
character
just
to a T.
personally, Lust is just my worst, just because of for spoiler reasons.
I you know what? I'm really torn on this one between A and S though. Like, there's a part of me that thinks because of Envy's like dedication to being just pure evil, table flipping, and saying "fuck it, I'm going to destroy the world just because I can," and because I'm so jealous of everyone, I want to say that's S, but I don't know if Envy is as iconic as some of the other villains in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, because in Full Metal Alchemist, there's plenty of other villains that are more iconic. Like a specific one I'm going to talk about later that I think is a lot more iconic than Envy. But from an overarching perspective of Full Metal Alchemist story, like Envy is a titular villain. So I'm pretty torn between S and A.
I think A tier is where envy belongs, honestly. Like, they're
Okay.
damn good villain, lots of evil, solid evil actions, but they aren't to the point where everyone and their mother remembers envy and talks about envy even after all these years.
Yeah, like I said,
right.
Lust is someone who's probably more prominent than Envy in people's minds when they think of villains from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about the homunculi.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the last character we have for Chinoda, as Death D. Moving on.
Wow, D for double
100%.
D's, Alex? Is that what we're
That's
doing?
right. Listen, she may be a Nazi fascist as well, but I don't think she's actually that fucking evil. She does whatever her heart's desires and whatever she's being told to do. She's not actually actively going out to be super fucking evil, in my opinion.
John.
Also, I love it. As Death is my queen, so like.
Oh my None of you can ever call me a simp for anyone ever again.
Bro, she's so hot.
It's
Listen,
ridiculous
main
how
character
hot
dude
she
fucked
is.
Up. The main character dude fucked up. I would have been like, yes, madam, for sure, madam.
If she were flat chested, you wouldn't give a shit about her.
And you would love her, Alex.
Yeah, I know. Then you would love her.
Oh wait, no,
God
she's
damn it,
too tall.
I've tipped my hand. God damn it.
Oh fuck, that's my vodka. Don't
Oh
you
my
break-
God, he's spilling the alcohol. My God, it's a crime against alcohol.
No, that's right here.
Oh.
So
Make a case for
Death
Death not being a
has
D tier.
literally committed genocide by herself because of her powers. She is fucking terrifying. She is a master manipulator, and she is the type, as you guys said, she will follow what her heart wants and does whatever she wants to do immediately, and it does not matter. Including and not limited to immediately enslaving the main character after he showed off that he's powerful. She's like, oh yeah, I'm hot for him. He's mine now. She's a complete and total piece of shit.
Well, no,
God
she's a
damn,
second
is she
bit,
hot,
yeah.
but holy fuck, she is evil. She
Yeah.
belongs in the S tier, honestly.
Oh my God.
I think the problem with putting her in S tier is just because of
It's
her
a
name is
terrible
S
idea.
Death, like S tier S Death, like it's too much, you know.
John,
On top of that, a Kami Got Kill kind of ends very shittily. So it
okay,
kinda
who cares
ruins-
about how it ends? We're not talking about how any of these ends.
do you
We're talking
guys-
about the villain themselves.
Do you guys remember when the manga was still running and it came up on its last chapter? Sho used to he absolutely adored Akame ga Kill. Like he loved the anime, even though the ending
this.
wasn't great, and he loved the manga so much. And he's like, he got so excited because we're finally gonna see the end. And he's like, the new chapter comes out, and he tells us in our chat, like, I'll be back in a little bit. I'm gonna go read the final chapter. And he comes back, he's like, I hate this manga.
I fucking remember that.
I get it though. I completely understand. I also hate the manga. Yeah, I don't think S Death is worth of S tier. Mainly because she's not. There's so many bad people in Akame Got Kill.
Are there any
really
good
is.
people in that anime?
No, everyone's a piece of shit to a certain degree.
So it's like
Except mine.
Konosuba.
Mine is perfect. I love mine. Oh, poor mine. But anyway, point is, I don't think S Death is truly the most villainy villain of Akame Got Kill. Like, there's that stupid fucking he was a clown, and he raped the mom and the daughter, and then killed them, and then raped their dead bodies, I believe, or some shit like that.
Oh
Like-
yeah, I forgot about Jesus.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
dark.
exactly.
That
Because
was
it's
really
so fucked
fucking
up.
dark.
No, I remember that because I was like, yo, what the actual fuck is wrong? Like, holy shit, I hope you die a horrible death. The entire point of Akame Got Kill was to see people get horribly fucking brutally murdered. And mostly everyone gets horribly brutally murdered except S Death.
Plot armor is
because
a
she's a-
wonderful thing, isn't it, John?
It's because she's a queen. She only deserves to die in her sleep as the most beautiful princess she is.
I think she belongs in D tier because I don't think she's the most villainy villain of all villains in Akame Got Kill.
I disagree. Like, she's literally, again, guys, she's committed fucking genocide.
But all of them have committed genocide. Every single one of the evil villains do fucked up things. Skin your victims alive? Why not? Rape and
Yeah.
pillage? Why not? Fucking
I think what John is saying is in a series full of villainous people, she doesn't stand out enough.
Yeah, she's just the super hot character that doesn't fucking die
Because plot.
because plot.
All right, fine. I'll
D tier it
concede.
is. Moving on to John. We're at your list, John.
Awesome.
So
Don't have my list pulled up because
that is
I am
okay. I
not.
have it pulled up for you. The very first character you have on your list is a character that you had on your list for the protagonist when we did.
Because Lelouch v. Britannia commands you.
This
Is
is kind of
Lelouch a
another.
villain though?
This kind of
Yes.
another person that a lot like Light. The power starts to go to his head a little bit.
Well, all right, here's the deal. Lelouch starts off as a hero, and he ends up a villain
Hmm.
And
because
then ends a hero.
he accidentally causes genocide. He literally murders his friend's dad for, reasons to advance his own thing. And of course he feels bad about everything that's happened, right? But it doesn't stop him from committing evil because he knows he has to become the true evil to truly bring peace to the world. That's like the entire point of being Lelouch, being the most evil that he can take. He is like Jesus Christ himself. He took upon the sins of humanity onto his shoulders and he died for our sins.
That's
Okay.
that's a
Literally.
little extreme, but okay.
I'm saying he's the equivalent of anime Jesus Christ, is all I'm saying. Kind of, not
Sir,
really.
calm
It's
down.
funny when there's actually an anime with Jesus in it.
I know. But I think he's a really good villain because he doesn't want to be a villain. He obviously wants to be a hero, but he realizes very soon that the world needs a villain and he's willing to play that part. And I think it's very heroic, but also, he still commits genocide. He still has wars. He still literally has people killing each other in his little game of chess, and he's throwing away lives left and right, at least the ones that don't matter to him.
Yeah. I agree. And in terms of iconic anime characters, I think you don't get
He's
more
up there.
iconic
He is
than,
definitely up
Yeah.
there.
than Lelouch.
I mean, I personally view him as S tier because it's like he's not only is he as a really good hero, he's a really good villain.
He's just a
I
good
agree.
character.
Yeah.
Period. No matter what role he's playing. I agree.
Like Suzaku he could have went Suzaku's route. He could have done everything differently to try to change the world, but he chose not to. He chose death and genocide.
He chose the not pussy route.
He-
All right. I agree. So the next character on your list is another one that's just a main character that's kind of a shitty person. Ein's Old Gown from Overlord.
So
Bone Daddy.
if anyone watches Overlord or reads Overlord and you haven't realized it by now, Ainz is kind of the villain of the story here.
He just wants all his companions to be happy. What's wrong with that, John?
I don't know. The whole fact that he lets his companions skin people alive and
John,
then
there's a
revive
literal
them?
place called the Happy Farm. It's nothing but pure joy and happiness. What
Yeah,
are you
Happy
talking
Farms
about?
where the sheep breed and they keep, and they feed them to cockroaches and shit like that. Yeah, it's because he may be the main character, but his entire purpose for doing what he does in Overlord, Ainz, is not out of the good of his heart. He literally doesn't do anything out of the good of his heart. He does it for the betterment of his guild, for Nazarick. He always has Nazarick in mind. So he is fine with burning children alive. He is fine with people being.
He's fine with anything so long as it advances his guild.
Yeah. And he's more concerned about making sure that he keeps up appearances of being the supreme leader than anything else. Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't care if people are dying left and right. It's only when it has an adverse effect to his plans or the people around him that he actually does anything.
I hate to break it to you, John. Like a Nazi.
It's funny you mentioned that. His son is actually in an SS uniform. Pandora's
Quite
actor.
literally.
Quite literally, his the NPC that he creates, Pandora's actor, is what is he? He transforms everything. He's like a slime or something.
He's a mimic.
A mimic or something.
Yeah.
But he's like
He's a shapeshifter, not a mimic, actually.
Yeah, he's a shape-shifting like monster, but Pandora's actor is literally designed to have a he's voiced by Mamoru Miyano. He's in an SS uniform. Because Ainz literally says, "I just thought the uniforms were cool, so I made it." He
Hey, you
literally
know
looks up
what?
to Nazis.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. The Nazis were evil, but they had fashion sense.
I agree
I
with
mean,
that.
yeah, with Hugo Boss fucking designing their shit, I hope so. And
I like how Hugo Boss talks about how long they've been around, but they never talk about the fact that they designed the uniforms for Nazis.
so I'm gonna get into a little slight spoiler about like peeking into the mind of Ainz Ulagon. Literally in season 3, right? What does he do? He goes to a battlefield and he's like, "Oh, I'll just use the magic to start off the battle," right? Like that's the original plan. And it eventually turns into, "Wow, look at how I literally just killed 35,000 people in one
Mm-hmm.
spell. This must be the ultimate record for how many baby goats I could summon with Il Shagarath or whatever." And all he cares about at this point isn't like, "Oh, not about killing, 35,000 people who are just defending their land from you." Because he's the invader, by the way.
Yeah.
He's invading the kingdom
Are we the
with the help of
baddies?
yeah, exactly. Like if by season 3 you didn't realize that Ainz is actually evil, he literally commits genocide. And the only thing he feels after doing this was, "Wow, I just set a new record." Like, he treats people's lives as a fucking video game. He's evil as shit. I love it because he's so
Try-
stupid.
Trying to speed run genocide.
So that is my opinion. I think Ainz is he's a solid A tier villain because he doesn't do things like he doesn't try to be evil on purpose, but he will definitely do evil if he has to.
I
So
agree with that.
A tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I can see that. We're kind of like top loading our
Stacked.
A tier.
Yeah, I know. It's because all our villains are really good.
Yeah, I know, but we're not with. We're wondering if they're iconic enough to go into S tier. All right. So I have to ask you about this next one, John.
Right.
Why would you put Toby on your list? Toby is a good boy.
Toby is the bestest boy. He just wants
All
to
right.
eat dango and be
All right,
happy.
I have to say before we get into this, there's going to be some massive spoilers for late stage Naruto here.
If you
So-
haven't watched it after all this time,
It's been 20 years. Actually, it's only been
it
only been
has
about
not been
10.
20 years.
10 since it finished. Yeah. Since we got to the part with the major spoilers. But out of all the villains that I could have picked, I wanted to pick Pain for very obvious spoiler reasons.
I
I
thought
was
about
actually thinking about picking Pain too.
I thought about that. I also thought about putting Orochimaru on my list.
But, well, Orochimaru turns. I don't think kind of. But I did not put Pain because I was like, you know what? He may be my personal hated villain from Naruto, but I have to look at the overarching story. Everything has been orchestrated by Toby. He's a piece of shit. And in his mind, the ends justify the means. And I get it. His ideal of like, I'm gonna stop all world war by making sure everyone fucking just dies. By making sure that chakra returns to nothing. So we don't have ninjutsu. So we won't war anymore. And I'm like, Toby, you absolute fucking buffoon. People are gonna fight whether or not they have chakra or not, bro.
Yeah.
Like that was not the crux of the issue, but he thought it was, and I'm just like,
He
you
didn't
fucking
understand the inherent nature of humanity, which
idiot. Yeah,
is
people warred before chakra was around, so I don't understand why you think people are warring because they have chakra. And his intentions may be noble, I guess. Committing mass genocide, I don't think, no matter how you cut it, committing mass genocide cannot be noble. All right, I'm just gonna let it out. Like it doesn't matter. But I think that as far as the Naruto storyline goes and what he does and what he orchestrates throughout, because he's been working in the background the entire time. We don't know that until the end.
He is the puppet master.
He's the puppet master pulling the strings.
yeah,
And-
he was the puppet master for the puppet master.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
personally think that Toby is more of a B tier villain because like he doesn't have that much of an impact until the very end. So he's very middle of the ground. But I
Okay.
just think that he's still iconic. Like as far as shonen Like when I got to the end of Naruto when I was reading it and I found out like everything about Toby and all that shit, I was just like, yo, and then you learn about his backstory. You're like, yo, and then you get to the end, you're like, I don't think you should have ever done it, Toby. I don't think you should have done what you did, man. You went about
Yeah,
this the whole wrong way.
it's
And he
great, especially
exists.
when you learn his backstory because you know why certain other characters act the way they do.
Yeah. And then like Toby, in my opinion, is the antithesis to Naruto. And he
Yeah,
represents everything that Naruto is the opposite of Naruto, because it's like they both have the same dream of like, you know, unite the world, but one goes about it
very different
completely
methods.
very different method.
Yeah. I I feel like if you're talking about Naruto villains, there are others that are a little more iconic, maybe, especially in their design and the way they're portrayed. But Toby's a good choice. Toby's actually a great choice, especially seeing as how it's revealed he's the puppet master behind the scenes.
He's the one in control the entire time.
Yeah.
Every single thing that's happened.
I think he's C tier because he was the puppet master for 2 puppet masters. I and almost everything he did was for the betterment of everyone and no more suffering. I don't think he belongs in B tier.
Okay,
Okay.
I can concede that because again, his intentions were extremely noble. It's not like he wanted to kill people because he liked it or anything, and he wasn't really killing people. I mean, there were
He
deaths
rarely
along the
killed
way.
people that from what we saw, honestly.
Well, I mean, at the ending with the infinite Tsukiyomi, like
Well, that's
that
at the
eventually,
end. That
Yeah.
that's
he's like, I'm gonna have everyone experience major spoilers about. No, you're not gonna know anything with it. He puts everyone into the infinite dream state where you would just wither away and die, but you at least would be happy in your dreams and die. You'd be able to live
everyone
out
gets
your
their own
Kind of
wildest fantasies.
personal
kind
heaven.
of kind of like the Matrix.
He literally puts everyone into heaven before they get to die. And I'm like, okay, at least you didn't make them suffer, but still, like, it's kind of fucked up, Toby. How do I stop wars? I'll just kill everyone.
Someone
Like, you think
yeah.
about that logic.
I mean, he's kind of right, but at what cost? It's like a what do you call it? When
Sunk
it's a
cost fallacy.
no, it's a victory, but it's a Pyrrhic victory.
Oh, Pyrrhic
It's like
victory,
it's
yeah.
a victory, but the cost is extremely high and not worth it. I watched a video one time on YouTube, and I can't for the life of me remember who did it, but someone was comparing Toby as a villain to the Wizard in the Wizard of Oz. That once you actually take away the veil and how that character props himself up, he ain't shit.
Yeah, he's just a man.
Yeah. So yeah, C tier, I'd say yeah, high C tier, low B tier is a good spot.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Next is the overlap character between you and Natai. It is Griffith from Berserk.
All right.
Griffith did nothing wrong.
bastard.
Hey,
I hate
cheers,
both
bro.
of you.
Cheers.
My man.
Griffith did everything wrong. All right. Here's the deal. As Toby is the antithesis to Naruto, Griffith and Guts are the antithesis to each other. All right. Both had fucked up lives, really.
Are you
But-
okay, Tsunoda?
Oh my god.
Yep.
Are you all
A little
right?
bit too strong.
Okay.
Oh man, he's choking.
Go on. I'm alive.
That was obviously a plot by Griffith to kill him.
Fucking God hand.
the God hands. But in my opinion, everything that Guts is because of Griffith. So I'll give Griffith that. However, when faced with the absurdities of life and Guts' upbringing, getting sold off to be raped and then being a child soldier and all that other fucked up shit, mercenary, he chose to cut himself off from the world and close his heart. And it was the Band of Hawks that helped him open up and become like accepting again and casket and all that. Griffith, on the other hand, had everything kind of given to him. Like he never had truly anything taken from him. And the minute that it did happen, he just broke and lost himself. And then he just went, fuck it. Someone took something from me. The world is fucking shitty. I'm just going to kill everyone. And I'm like, whoa, bro, this happened to Guts too.
Who among us has not woken up one day after a hard night of partying and thought that exact same thing?
No. And instead of like dealing with it and all that stuff, he sacrifices everything he built up. He sacrifices the band of Hawks, and just as a double fuck you, like what he does to Casca just to fuck over Guts. Like he didn't have to do that. He could have just killed her. Why did he do it? Because he just wanted to be fucking hella evil, bro.
He just
And
wanted to inflict as much pain
yeah,
to Guts as possible, and that
because
wasn't.
it's like Guts experienced so much pain from the world, but he didn't lash out at the world. He continues not to lash out at the world. He closed himself off. Versus Griffith, instead of like, trying to better the world like he originally intended to do, he just goes, fuck it. I'm just going to fuck up the world then. And I'm like, damn, bro, what happened?
But as a villain, you got to admit he's fucking iconic.
Oh, yeah. That's why I think he's an S tier villain because I
I
absolutely
agree.
hate this man. I hate this man.
I hate him so much. I love him.
No, I just hate him. Absolutely hate him. Every fiber of my being.
Shinoda, any objections to S tier?
Honestly, no. Like,
okay.
And it's not like it's stuff he just did. He continues to be evil, and he continues to grow even more and more evil with his ascendancy to major fucking spoilers, with his ascendancy to a higher tier being. And like,
Yep.
he made the choice. He absolutely did not have to. He didn't have to do any of that, but he chose to lash out. He chose to be evil, and then he continues to be evil. No sympathy, no remorse, continuous evil. My God, do I hate Griffith?
Yeah.
Well said. We'll move on then to another character who is definitely in the running for Dad of the Year. Shao Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist.
Fucking D tier because overused fucking meme. I don't give a shit about this man anymore. It's not even that horrific anymore. Who cares? Oh boy, little girl, his daughter, and dog got transmuted into one game. Oh, how traumatizing! I don't care. I've seen it over 10,000 times. I don't give a shit anymore. He's not even that bad compared to these other villains. My God, why do people keep on putting Shao Tucker up as so fucking evil?
Man, I didn't know you had that obviously much passion.
Shinoda has proven my point of why he deserves to be an S tier because of the amount of rage that he expresses about Shao Tucker. It's about why I was like, I feel like he's a lot more iconic. There's a lot more memes. He's a lot more memorable. Everyone hates Shao Tucker.
Every Father's Day, man. Every Father's Day.
I just think he's more iconic as a villain in all of FMA. So I put him in S tier, but I mean,
is he the most iconic villain in FMA?
I would say yes because of overused fucking meme.
Yeah, because of the memes. Yeah.
Okay.
Whether or not we put him in S tier, I don't care where you place him. I needed to put him on this list because I needed to elicit a response from someone.
Well, you got one from Shinoda. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
We should just put him right next to Gendo so they can bond.
Good dad.
The Good Dad Club. Actually, if you think about it, ACAD, Gendo, and Shao Tucker right next to each other in A tier.
I mean, if you really want to do that, put what's his name, Skeleton Daddy next to them as well.
I mean, yeah,
he's a daddy as well.
He's a daddy to the guild.
He's an actual daddy.
Yeah, he's Bone Daddy.
It's Bone Daddy, not Skeleton Daddy.
Bone Daddy, because you want to bone him. A tier. Let's go. All right, and that's the end of John's list. So we'll get into Natai, even though he is not here to defend anything that he put on this list, but we'll do it anyway. First character on Natai's list is the other JoJo's villain we have on our list here. It is Yoshikage Kira from Part 4.
Absolute S tier, no question about it.
I got, if we put Dio in S tier, we got to put Kira.
You got to put Kira there. Come on.
I disagree.
Actually,
my name is Yoshikage Kira. I am. Oh shit! I don't remember the meme speech anymore.
32? I disagree.
Really?
I think he's just a serial killer, horny pervert, and everything that ends up happening is just because he's a horny pervert, and that's it. He's not
That's why he's such a
truly
good
evil.
villain.
He just wants to kill girls and love their hands. There,
Okay, I have
he
to
may
ask you though,
do some
Shinoda.
shitty things, but
What is more evil than killing girls and then loving their hands? What is
genocide,
your
Yes,
metric?
like genocide is
Okay,
pretty
yeah,
up
that's
there.
true.
rape.
We do have like people who do rape and genocide in our list quite a lot. So
But let me
I
ask you
don't
something, Shinoda.
think Yoshika. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Would you think all of these things about Kira if his fetish were for feet instead?
I think he would be S tier villain then.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
S
I
tier.
knew it. It's all about his hand fetish.
Oh my god!
Like that's just weird, but like that doesn't make him like
But feet,
super
no, that makes
fucking
a
evil.
complete
No,
sense.
feet. Yeah, seriously.
Understandable.
In this one instance, Shinoda, I will agree with you.
I don't think he's S
Feet are the
tier. I really
superior
don't.
fetish.
He's a great charismatic villain. I fucking love him for that.
He
And
risks
he
the
is a
fuck out
piece
of
of shit.
everybody.
Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's that much of an evil villain. He's just a serial killer with a fetish for hands, and that's all he is.
But he looks like David Bowie.
Is there something you want to say against David Bowie, Alex?
No, that's good.
Yeah, that's what I
David
thought,
Bowie
motherfucker.
David Bowie is the true villain of humanity. He didn't give us more music.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Someone made
John?
David Bowie in Starfield. Fucking amazing.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I will send it to you.
Nice. John response to anything Shinoda said about the hand fetish?
I mean, you guys are absolutely wrong. He's an extremely iconic JoJo's villain.
I agree with
again,
you, John. I agree. I say S
Like,
tier.
The fact that you would put him in S tier only because you don't want to put him in there only because he has a hand fetish is like that's irrelevant. Fucking relevant.
It's not just the hand fetish. I just don't think he's that evil. Almost everything he does is because he was discovered and he was trying to get away with it. That's all. But he wasn't truly evil. He was a
Are you telling me
sociopath
murder?
at best.
He's literally going around in this unassuming town, being an unassuming person because he wants to get away with murder. Like he's a fucking sociopath and he's a psychopath. And
I
then
like
he
the implication here, though, that Shinoda's saying that that doesn't make him truly evil. I'm sure Ted Bundy would love to hear that.
Yeah, like, are you telling me Ted Bundy wasn't evil as shit?
He's literally
Completely
anime
evil.
Ted Bundy.
He
Yeah,
really
he
is.
actually. Yeah, he really is.
I say S tier.
I will not concede my point. S tier.
I think, yeah, especially in terms of JoJo villains, he's certainly up there. All right,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
next character from Natai is Lad Russo from Bakano. Have
I have-
either of you seen Bakano?
I have no horses in this game.
I've seen Bakuno.
You've-
Remember?
okay.
We did it during the Christmas episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. So Lad, I mean, the dude is essentially a hitman. He's cold, calculating, doesn't give a shit about what he's at, who or what he's asked to kill. He just goes and does it.
Now, did Natai send his list and explain himself at all?
Not really. No, he just put his list down and said, "This is my list." We talked about it a little bit. We talked about some of the characters that he put on there, but he didn't really like make any kind of defense for the characters that he put on there, or where he would put
Fool.
them.
You absolute fool.
Because you didn't like Bakano.
I thought Bakuno was all right. I didn't think it was as 10 out of 10 perfect, amazing anime like everyone said it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally everyone said it was, and I'm like, it was okay. Like it's a solid 8 out of 10. Like it's good, but it's not an absolutely perfect, can do no wrong anime.
Mm. Oh, I agree. There's definitely issues with it. First and foremost is I think it tries to pack way too much story into too short a runtime. But
And then it spends like 3 episodes in an OVA doing absolutely fuck all until the last one. And it's like you had 3 extra episodes. You could have, you had 2 episodes to work with here, but they didn't. But whatever.
Yeah. but the character of Lad, I think, at least in the story, is particularly um, psychopathic, uncaring, cold.
Right.
Does make a pretty good antagonist for the show, for the story being told. But in terms of all these other characters that we have, I can't say that he has the staying power of most of them. Although I don't think he's anywhere near like the bottom. I'd put him in like a C or a B.
I'd also put him in like a C because he's like he's he's a one trick pony, dude. He's just like, yeah, I'm a psycho hitman killer. Like, okay, and
And
and like, do you commit mass genocide? I
are you a
thought not.
Nazi?
You a literal Nazi? Well, I mean, kind of.
I mean,
He's
this does
Italian,
take
right?
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like an Italian hitman. So I mean,
Are you
well,
related to Anthony Soprano?
yeah,
I see. Compared to all these other ones, C is not so bad for him. In the show, in Bakano, he's actually a really great villain, a great antagonist. But compared to all these other ones, I think he doesn't quite hold up to the level of evil and the level of iconicness of some of these characters.
listen, the true villain of Bakano was always Jacuzzi.
Yeah, for having a shitty name,
Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi Splot.
I'm sorry, is that really?
That's
Have
really
you
his
not
name.
seen Bakano? Really?
No,
No,
he
I
hasn't.
haven't.
Why don't you watch anime, bro? Are you on an anime podcast?
No, he's too busy getting his dailies done every day.
Even though I'm watching more anime than literally everyone at the moment.
Because you're not
Hey.
watching the good old anime. You're watching the
Yeah.
shitty new anime.
Yeah. God.
Like,
bully
you're
him
right
more.
on that. I can't argue,
Yeah.
but fuck off.
All right, so the next character on the ties list is Griffith, but we've already gone over him. So the character after that he has, I really hope someone else can talk about this character because I don't have a clue. It's Crocodile from One Piece.
Oh,
Crocodile's a piece of shit, and I love
he's an
him.
absolute piece of shit.
I
Um,
love him though. He is actually evil.
I think Crocodile is a solid A tier for me, in terms of One Piece villains because he's unapologetically evil, comparatively. Like other than was it Blackbeard?
Was Blackbeard that evil though?
In real
I
life,
don't
no.
think Blackbeard was evil. Selfish, yes. But
Selfish, yes,
evil?
but yeah. I just have personal feelings against Blackbeard
No, so do I. Like,
for spoiler reasons.
yeah.
Again.
Oh God, what? I don't even read One Piece. Why do I know this stuff?
What?
Probably
Yeah,
because
why?
Matthias
Do you
told
watch
you.
One Piece? What? You
I don't
read One
watch
Piece?
it,
Why
and
do
I
you know
don't
this?
read it, but I know about stuff.
He knows things.
Like, you can place him wherever you want. I think he's definitely solid A tier, in my opinion.
I
have no
B
idea.
tier or A tier? I think he's A tier. He is A tier. He's a solid piece of
We
shit.
are really stacking this A tier a lot.
They're great fucking villains.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is what happens when we rank our top 5. It's
I
like,
know.
because they're the top ones, so not all of them are terrible, right?
True. All right, so the last character we're going to talk about, and the last one on Natai's list, is from a show neither of you two have seen, I think, from Golden Kamui. It is Ogata.
I have not seen Golden Kamuy.
Yeah, I recognize it was from Golden Kamuy sheerly because of the art style. As soon as I saw this, I'm like, I don't know who that is, but that's from Golden Kamuy. Like, they have a distinct style.
Golden Kamui. So I do want to. I can relate this character to a character I think both of you know. Both of you have played Fallout New Vegas, correct?
Yes.
No.
What, you liar! I know you have.
I have not.
Oh my
What do you
god!
mean you've never played Fallout New Vegas?
How do you play all this Fallout 76 bullshit and you've never played Fallout New Vegas? You are a shitty Bethesda fan.
You know what's funny? I literally have all of New Vegas downloaded and all of its DLC. I just haven't played it yet.
Ignoring the guy who has shit taste in video games.
Wait. But if you join us in our Discord, you'll get to watch me play it eventually.
Yeah.
Nice plug.
Yeah, really. Okay, sure.
All
Sure,
right.
Jan.
Who is he like? Is he like Benny? Are you gonna say
No.
Benny?
Do you remember Boone?
Yeah,
He's one of the best companions you can recruit in New Vegas.
right.
Because he has a great backstory, because he's a sniper. He's kind of standoffish to everyone. You have to really get to know him for him to open up to you. And he's just this cold, calculating person. And to him, everything is just like it's a math game. It's numbers. How valuable are you to me? How valuable are you dead? And that's it, right? That's what Boone, the character in New Vegas, is.
Yeah.
Kind
And
of
also,
like a
who killed my
sociopath.
wife? Or not who killed my who sold my wife away and let her die?
That's exactly what Ogata is in Golden Kamuy.
Oh,
He is
he's Boone?
essentially Boone. He's essentially Boone. And just like Boone in New Vegas, Ogata is also a sniper.
What does he use?
So why is he a villain?
A gun. Spoilers.
Okay, all right.
But a big part of it is because of that cold, calculating nature. Like, he doesn't really care who he's killing. Like, if he's ordered to go do it, he's gonna go do it. Which you can argue that doesn't make him a villain any more than it makes any military sniper in the real world a villain. But in the case of the story, he definitely is. He's certainly an antagonist.
Okay. He's certainly a villain.
A villain.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Golden Kamuy, so I really have, again, no horse in this race.
All right. First off, I want to say to everyone out there who hasn't watched Golden Kamuy, you are doing yourself a disservice. This is a great anime. Yes, its first season is a little bit of a slog to get through, but it's worth getting through it. It's only 12 episodes. And yes,
Okay.
the CG bears are really bad. I get it.
Okay.
If the story telling can carry it, I will fully believe you.
There are two things that carry the first season of Golden Kamuy: the writing and the voice acting. But yeah,
Good enough.
I love Ogata. I'd say personally, I'd say in comparison to the characters we have here, high B, low A. So I would put him in B,
Okay.
mostly because I don't want to put another character in A
In
tier.
A tier, yeah. It's a little too stacked over there.
I know. But yeah, that's where I'd put him in comparison to these other characters personally. Certainly not as iconic as some of the characters we have in S tier and A tier, and I don't think he's quite there in comparison to characters like Askeladd, like Ikari, like Light, Envy. That's
Okay.
it. That's
All
where I'd put him,
right.
and that's our list. I want to ask before we like totally get out of here from this. Are there any characters that you all thought about putting on your list that you did not?
Yeah, Dio, Kira, Light,
Let me rephrase that aren't already on the list.
I mean, Toby. I was gonna swap him out for Pain because I really wanted to Pain, but I was like, Pain to the overarching story wasn't completely evil. Like and that's the thing with Naruto. A lot of them are sympathetic villains, right? There's only a handful of villains that you are not sympathetic towards, like
There's
what
a
are the
reason
fucking-
Talk No Jutsu works a lot.
like what the fuck's that guy? The fucking dude who can do the clay thing and blow people up. That guy,
Oh,
unapologetic.
Deidara.
Yeah, Datara. Like he's unapologetically evil. Even fucking who's the guy
Excuse you, he's not evil. He's an artist.
yeah, sure, okay, sure.
What's the difference?
Or then like the
You know
We
who else
love
is
you,
an
our artists who work under us.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
You know who else is an artist? Chinoda? Hitler.
Hitler. I knew it.
Oh,
I knew
fuck,
that's
oh,
where this
shit.
was going. It always comes back to the Nazis.
How many characters on this list were either vaguely fascist or actual Nazis?
Let's count. One,
Dio
One,
definitely has
two.
fascist tendencies.
1, 2, 3, 4.
An actual Nazi.
5, like 6 of them.
So
Wait.
here's a top tip for anyone out there trying to write a villain: just write Nazis.
That is what people have been doing since World War II, so it hasn't changed much.
I mentioned this before we started, and
Big five.
John went into like absolute giant spoiler territories for Mushoku Tensei when I brought this up, so we won't bring that up again. But there was an
No.
actual non-character I was thinking about putting on my list, and that was Rudy's own inner demons and struggles with the person he used to be.
Yeah,
Because like in
because
the
the
first two
main
seasons of Mushoku Tensei, that is the true antagonist he's facing.
yeah, that is the antagonist of Rudy's story in Mushoku
Mhm.
Tensei. It's his past self and his inner demons that he's
Mhm.
always been wrestling with.
Yeah, but I very nearly put that on my list, but then I thought, that's kind of esoteric. We should probably limit it to actual characters.
There was a couple I was constantly flipping back and forth about. One of them being Aizen from Bleach.
See,
Mm.
I also thought about Aizen, also a Nazi.
Is
he
he though?
is.
Is he
Yes, he
really?
is. Aizen's a fucking Nazi. He's a
I don't know if I would
fascist.
say he's a Nazi. He's like close to
He's
fascism.
fucking Dr. Mengele. He's literally Dr. Mengele.
Yeah, he did do a lot of fucked up experiments.
But point is, I thought about Aizen as well, but I don't know, because of how Bleach ends, I was like, it's because they didn't literally end with Aizen. He could have been the end of Bleach, and I would have probably agreed with you, but because he's not the end of Bleach, it's like, well, he was the overarching villain this entire time, sure, from like start to the end of the Aizen arc. Like he's actually been the villain in the background this entire time, and then they had to go and make the stupid fucking Nazis. So the literal Nazis, there's actual Nazis in it instead. The vampire Nazis. Oh, they're not vampires, but point is,
There's another person I genuinely considered adding to my list, but then it's like it's not really anime. So I thought, but I was gonna put Silco from Arcane on this list just because he's one of my favorite animated villains ever.
did we not argue that Arcane is an anime?
We argued that so we didn't put Arcane in our award show simply because it has no connection to anything Japanese, and it wasn't made by a Japanese company. The anime wasn't
Yeah,
made
that's
by a
true.
Japanese
Yeah,
company.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's
we also agreed that it's very anime inspired.
At most, I think we can say Arcane is anime in spirit, but that's
Yeah.
it.
But that's the reason we kind of didn't consider it an anime for the purposes of our awards. But I will 100% say Silco is probably my absolute favorite animated antagonist slash villain ever. It's such a, I don't know how they're going to top it for the second season.
I kind of like that in their entire list, there's no really sympathetic villains other than like Toby. Everyone else is just like, nope, they're just evil.
I mean, you could argue that Ogi is kind of sympathetic because she was created out of someone else's like desire to hate on themselves.
But I'm truly glad that no one thinks that, because I'm tired of sympathetic villains being like top
Are
tier
you
villains,
telling
'cause
me
it's
you
like,
don't love Demon Slayer? Come on, man.
I liked it. I told you guys it was going to be
I
the
should-
next big shonen,
There
but
we go.
and
Michael
you all-
Jackson just wants to walk in the sun. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly. He wants to moonwalk away, dude. Dun, 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 dun.
How great would it have been if you
And
actually stood up and
copyrighted.
moonwalked out of the room?
Oh no.
But yeah, there's Toby's kind of a sympathetic villain. You could maybe make the argument that Ogi is a sympathetic antagonist. But yeah, all the rest of them are pretty markedly evil for one reason or another.
And
Or at the very least,
I don't
they're
argue that
ambivalent.
Lelouch. I do not argue that Lelouch is a sympathetic villain. I do not have sympathy for that man. He chose, and he chose well. He did what he had to do to get the job done, and he
And
feels
he
no
looked
regrets.
Hot while doing it.
Oh yes.
Capes,
Oh,
man, they need to
baby.
come back.
No.
Let's try one more time for a Berserker adaptation that's not shit.
Ah, God. Mappa, please take over.
Yeah, for real though. But yeah, that was it. That was our list of our top 5 anime villains ranked. Tell us down below if you disagree with our list, if you agree with our list, what your top 5 personal anime antagonists or villains are. I'd be very interested to find out what that is.
I'm surprised no one put Aaron Yeager.
I mean,
Eh,
is it any surprise I didn't?
like it's no surprise
yeah.
Alex didn't. I'm just like,
I am surprised that Natai didn't like choose Aaron or someone from Attack
Oh,
on
you
Titan.
know what? It's because Attack on Titan has the anime finished yet?
Not
no,
yet.
it hasn't.
It's
That's
not
probably why.
about
That's
a
probably
month or
why he
so.
hasn't. Yeah, so that's probably why he didn't put Aaron yet because he hasn't finished
Maybe.
watching it. Because I believe he didn't read the manga, right? He's not done.
No,
with
he
it like
doesn't
I
read the
am.
manga.
Yeah, so that's probably why he didn't put Aaron yet.
I'm trying to
I
think of the.
intentionally stopped reading the manga where the last season of the anime was about to start just so I can get the final full anime experience and then read the manga after.
I think of all the characters that we chose, only one. I guess you could say Ainz from Overlord, but I guess I don't know if the character of Crocodile is still alive or around in One Piece. But I think the only one who's from like a currently airing anime is Ogata from Golden Kamuy. All these other ones are from shows that have ended, or at least their part in the show has ended, with except the Divines.
It's almost like you can get a full appreciation for her character after the show is done.
because they're not fully developed yet. Like you can't because if we like for example Light, if I was midway through watching Death Note, Light would be S tier villain, right?
Easily.
But then we get to the end, I'm like, okay, he drops the A tier now because it's not a full circle.
I mean, yeah, if you only saw the first half of the first season of Vinland Saga, you probably wouldn't think much of Askeladd.
Yeah.
You might think he's a mid tier, like a B or a C at best. But then you get to the end and it's like, oh God, this is like A verging on S tier.
Yeah. And for Ainz, like I'd say, the first season, you wouldn't think he would be a villain. Second season, you're like, well, he's doing things for certain things. Then you get to season 3, you're like, okay, no, he's a villain. He's a villain.
You watch only a couple of parts of Naruto here and there, you wouldn't even think Toby is a villain. You just think he's a joke character and that's it.
Yeah, he's just a dude in a mask that shows up
Mm.
sometimes.
Dude, he dresses like the rest of the Akatsuki. You know something's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like until a certain point, he was literally just a joke character.
I am surprised that no one put Itachi on this list.
Itachi wasn't a villain. He was just a good boy. He was
He's
a
a
good
hero,
poor
bro.
boy.
He is, but he's not introduced as one.
Yeah.
His introduction is really villainous.
Oh my god, his introduction was fucking S tier. Just like,
For real though.
oh fuck, the big bad is here, and you see every fucking Jonin start freaking the fuck out, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then you start getting exposition and backstory, and everyone's like, oh fuck.
Do you know why
Fucking-
you can't defeat me, Sasuke? You lack hatred. It's such an edgy line, but I love it. Oh my god. All right, that's it. That is our list. Like I said, let us know down below what you thought of our rankings for these characters. Let us also know what your top 5 is. I'd be very interested to hear it. What else? Thank you everyone out there for stopping by to watch us. Check down below where you can find links to Anime Club After Dark on Twitter, on Discord. And you can also find a link to our store down there, our merch store, where you can buy things like this ACAD mug or notebook. Just saying. Just saying. It's also a bunch of stickers we have for all of our Discord emotes you can buy at our merch store as well. And there's always more being added as Burb makes them. Thank you, Burb. But with that, I have been your host, Alex, and we will see you next time. Say goodbye, villains.
What? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I immediately was about to Nazi salute.
Oh my god, please don't.
What the fuck?
Like goodbye villains. Like I was gonna go see Kyle, but I was like, wait. It would have been so out of pocket.
It's like that fucking scene from Doctor Strangelove just down.
Bye.
So I want to ask,
Huh?
Not just anime, but who's like a favorite villain, period. Just one. Just throw
Ever?
one out. Yeah.
Mm, that's a
Can't think
that's
of one.
it's a lot. It's a lot
Um,
to think about off the top of my head.
trying to think of my favorite
In
TV show.
any form of fiction.
Any form of fiction, books, movies, shows, anything. Who has aroused such passion in your hearts of hatred that you still think of them all these years later?
I can't really think of
Iago,
one.
Iago in Shakespeare's Othello.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, that man delights in being evil, and it's so fun to watch.
I can't think of
Damn
anyone.
good villain.
If you're
John
looking for
Halo.
John
Master Cheeks.
the
Master
Master
Cheeks.
Cheeks.
Oh God. That was a true villainous showing.
Yeah, that
I have
was
to
the
agree.
true villain was Paramount. If you're looking for some character that's more recent, it's going to be a character from Star Trek, but Gul Dukat from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, just because he has an entire 7 seasons to develop as a character.
7 seasons.
And
Jesus.
those seasons aren't like modern seasons; those were 20 plus episode seasons.
Oh, that's great. That's actually fantastic.
Yeah,
All right.
that would
Good
be
answers.
my two choices. How about you?
Oh, fuck. I didn't actually think about that.
Asking the question without having your own answer. Typical Chinoda.
I thought it was a good question. Fuck off.
This is a really long outro bit, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. I hate. Fuck. What do I hate? Who do I hate? I hate the government